Hey guys, Morgan's Maintenance. Today's tool review is going to be a tool from Gedore, or maybe it's Gedore. I'm not real sure how you say it. This is the first tool of theirs that I purchased. I'm sure it's going to be like the Wera and Vera. I'm not going to know until someone corrects me on that, which one it is, but I'm going to call it Gedore because that's what it looks like to me. And basically it's a set of ratcheting wrenches, much like the Kleins that I just picked up. You can see it's double-ended ratcheting. So the Klein ones that I just reviewed here recently, you get those 8 SAE sizes. You can see 1/2 inch there, also 5/8. Ratcheting on both sides. Of course, then you flip it and you get 2 other sizes, so you get a total of 8 sizes and 2 wrenches. But again, only SAE. And several of you made some comments in that video about some other brands that you felt like worked better, and then I was going to look at getting me a metric set, so I was kind of looking at those brands. You know, many mentioned the Crescent. Husky as well was a really high recommended one. Several other ones that you wanted to look at, and then some people even said they didn't really like the black finish and they liked the chrome. Well, I came across these. I wasn't even looking for these in this brand. Again, I was just searching their tools in general just to see what all they offered. I was looking at their pliers, wrenches, and things like that. Came across these. Part number is R07501002. Gonna run you like $55. So they are a little bit more expensive. I think the Klein ones were like 40 bucks if I remember right at Lowe's. So these are going to be like $15 more, but this one says 63 and 2. So they're saying that there are 63 sizes, or different fasteners at least, that you can use both these 2 wrenches on instead of just the 8. I'll show you what they mean by that in a minute. So that's one reason why you would pay $15 more. And again, if you like the chrome finish better, that might be another. And then the last thing would be possibly, you can see here that it looks like they are made in Germany. I know that's a big thing for a lot of people, that you really like that. So that might be the reason why as well. So 63 and 2. Again, like I said, I just couldn't really fathom that to be true whenever I saw it, but I thought I'm going to get it because I also figured these say they do SAE and metric sizes. So I was figuring with them being from Germany, they're probably going to be more, if it's kind of a little sloppy on one or the other, it's probably hopefully going to be on the SAE, but we'll see on that. But here's the sizes that they do, and here's where you can see they get the 63 and 2. And again, you got a 5-degree arc swing up there, has the on and off or left and right. So that's part of that up there. But here's the sizes. You can pause that screen and look at it. You can see basically it's the same sizes for the most part until you get down here to the square. You got a little bit different. You got some 9/32 and 11/32 and things like that. But whenever you get into it, really it does some star drive, square drive, and then also hex and different points and things like that. So that's where they're getting the 63 fasteners that they will fit on. It's not necessarily 63 sizes, but it is a combination of SAE and metric sizing. So it's supposed to be able to do both. So in my mind, well, what if I could use these and just have one pair and it will do everything? So that's what I was kind of looking at. So let's go ahead and see how maybe these perform in comparison to the Klein, or are the Klein also kind of metric SAE as well? That's what I'm going to show you with this, but let's go ahead and get in a little bit closer. So first, in looking at the wrenches and kind of the combination of sizes more so than anything. So again, they are that chrome finish. You can see the name there, Gedore Red, and then it also has for the markings, and they're just kind of on top. I don't think that they would really scratch off easy though. They kind of seem like they're like that etched. But you have 11 and 7/16 and then E14. So they put all 3 of those main sizes that they kind of do on those. And then over here on this side, you have 8, 5/16 and E10. Then you flip it over, you can see over here on this side, you got 10, 3/8, E12. So they got all those sizes that I showed you a minute ago marked. One thing that you got to kind of look at, probably in my mind, this would be the big benefit anyways, of looking at different wrenches and seeing what that combination is. Because like I said, you get a kind of a stop whenever whatever the biggest size is of your flip. So for instance, on these Klein here, if I have a 9/16 and then a 1/2 inch, those are my combination. So if I take the 9/16 on this nut here as a pass through, it stops on that 1/2 inch because that top size is smaller. So it kind of gives me that stop to keep that in place. Versus on this Gedore set, if I go with the 9/16, as you can see right there, if I flip that over, I've got 5/8. So 5/8 is the bigger of those 2 sizes. So whenever I go with the 9/16 on this, I don't have that stop. So that's going to make me have to sit there and hold that right in the right spot on that nut whenever I want to use that. So that's one thing that I would definitely look into if you're looking at getting you a pair of wrenches like this. If you use 9/16 the most and you use it on all thread or something like that, I think a 9/16 1/2 inch combination is better than a 9/16 5/8 combination. So that's just something to take note of. But again, how well do these do, in my opinion, on the combination of metric and SAE? And I scrounged around my garage all that I could looking for metric size stuff. I don't have a whole lot here at my house. I don't even have really a whole lot of bolts and stuff like that. I just don't keep a lot of stuff like that. But here I have a 1/2 inch and then also a 13 millimeter. So I have a 13 millimeter size bolt here. As far as the bolt head, you can see there's 13. I put that in there. Pretty nice fit inside that socket. Versus I go over here to 1/2 inch. I can make it go in there extremely tight. Like you can tell that it's not wanting to go. And that's because a 13 millimeter is like 0.512 in decimal versus 1/2 inch is 0.50. So it's very, very close in size. Not a lot of difference in that. But if I go over here to the Klein 1/2 inch, will it fit inside of there? Or this is actually the 13 millimeter bolt, 1/2 inch on the Klein. Will it go? I can get it to go in there and it fits in there just fine. So again, you could kind of use 13 millimeter and 1/2 inch on the Klein as well. It's still a little tight. It's kind of just like that socket. I'm not going to be able to just go straight on it probably a lot of times without spending some time to make sure I get it lined up just right. Versus if I go over to the Gedore and I find the 1/2 inch, which is right here, and it says 13/1/2 inch E16, it fits in there super easy. And again, because I've got the 7/16 on that back side, it's got that stop that allows it to just sit in there. So not a lot of play in there, in my opinion. So it still fits fine, but I can use the metric and SAE with the 1/2 inch. Again, it worked on the Klein as well. Now if I go up to a 5/8 and then a 16 millimeter, because 16 millimeter is I think 0.629 or 0.625 is 5/8. So those are really close. Like there's not a lot of difference in size on those. So if I find the 5/8 size of the Klein here, that's the purple, and I go with this, you can see 5/8 fits in there fine. If I go with 16 millimeter, also fits in there, maybe with a little more slop. So again, I don't know that really with all these that you're not going to have a combination on certain sizes. And again, these are the only size of these things that I have. So I can't really say for 100%, you know, once you start getting a millimeter size, it's really a little bit farther away. To me, that 1/2 inch is really close, because again, you go with that 1/2 inch socket, I've got to really kind of press that down inside my Milwaukee socket. It barely wants to go, but again, it still fits in the Klein as well. So it's a little bit tight. It's kind of the same as my socket there. So maybe you get a little bit more play with a Gedore that allows you to do more metric than what maybe an SAE one of certain brands might do. Again, I'm just showing you the Klein versus these. I don't have any other ones. And again, how they work. If I go over here to this, I'm going to go with the 1/2 inch because the 7/16 is the smaller on that side. It makes it a little easier to do this. And to show you, if I put it on there, actually I got to flip it over and put it on the right side. 1/2 inch, it won't go through because 7/16 is the smaller. You can hear the click. And again, you've got a switch here if you want to swap it back over and go the other direction. It's supposed to have that 5-degree arc swing. See if I can kind of show you where it clicks back in at. Right there. So again, they work the same as any other ratcheting wrench. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, oh, it's dramatically different. In all honesty, I don't know that I'd probably tell a big difference between a lot of them in my own personal opinion. But again, it fits in there. So again, a 3/4 size, let me find that one, is right here. You can see there's 3/4 and also 19 millimeter and E24. So just to show you again how this works is you just take and put your nut in there. You can see that it kind of attaches. I don't know if I can get it in the light or not. You kind of got more of a, looks more like a gear look as far as they're all squared off edges on this one, versus the Klein is more of a arced look as far as the 12 points. They're both got 12 points, but they just have a little bit different look, and maybe that's what allows the Gedore to do a little bit more things. And again, if you go with the square, I didn't have any kind of a square fastener or a star fastener to look at that was any of the sizes. But if I go with this square, I believe it comes out to be the 9/16. Let me find that there. Let me stick that through here, and you can see how they're saying how that's going to fit. And maybe I can get that in the picture as well. But basically, it just lines up If you have something square, I'm assuming that's all those E fasteners, which again, I don't use as well. But basically that's going to fit in there in all those little grooves. So, but again, ultimately, are they drastically different than any other ratcheting wrench like this that I've used, even if it's just the one end? Not really. And are they much different than the Klein? From what I can tell, not much difference as far as for size wise, even especially with that. Now the only difference that you're going to get into, if you use 1/2 inch more than anything, the 1/2 inch is actually on the smaller ratchet of the Gedore, so the 1/2 inch is quite a bit smaller than the 1/2 inch Klein. But once you get into all the other sizes, like the 9/16 and things like that, that's this size here. Actually, the Gedore might even be a little bit bigger than the 9/16 because it's got, again, 5/8 on the other side. So to me, that's the biggest thing that I guess if I had to tell you, I would look at the combinations of the ratchet sizes and which ones they're on versus Klein or Gedore or any other ones that you're looking at. And again, I think it's a big thing that if you're bigger size, the one that you use the most is the bigger size of the two. I think that becomes more helpful just keeping it on, you know, whatever that fastener is, because again, 9/16 on this Gedore just goes right on past it versus 9/16 on the Klein, because 1/2 inch is on the other side. I have a stop that holds me right there on that nut. It's going to make that a lot easier in my opinion. So that's the big thing I think that I would take away from this review. Both the ratchets work exactly the same in my opinion. I don't know that there's much difference. Maybe this one's got better steel, or, you know, again, it's got the chrome finish, made in Germany. Maybe that's something that entices you instead of it being made wherever the Klein's ones were. I'm sure it was China. I don't really remember off the top of my head, so don't quote me on that. But again, that's the big thing to look at. So that's the Gedore wrenches. Again, let me know in the comments below what you think about them, what you think about the advertising of 63 and 2. I think that's a little bit false in my opinion. It's, even though I guess it's 63 fasteners or sizes of fasteners, but it's not really 63 sizes, which I kind of figured that going into it. But again, let me know in the comments below what you think about these. Also, what you think about Gedore tools in general, because this is the very first tool of theirs that I purchased. They've got lots of other tools out there, hand tools, but these seem like they're pretty good quality. The latches or the locks or the switch, whatever you want to call these, I guess, they work extremely well. I think that they're going to go back and forth pretty easy. I think they might even be it's about the same as the Klein. So again, not much difference between the two. Just another option for you out there in case you didn't like the Klein. This might be something you want to look into. But just letting you know they're out there. As always, I hope this video was helpful, useful in some way. You guys stay safe. Have a blessed day. See you in the next video.